Hey everybody, welcome to the Podworm Spacecast. Excited to have you back with another episode today. I got Mike and Kevin with me. I'm Andrew. Starting the episode off a little different, just to kind of recognize, well, first of all, we record these episodes a few weeks in advance of when they actually air. So historically, we typically don't even talk about current events for, I think, a number of reasons, but one of them being the lag time, where most of the times it doesn't even make sense to talk about current events. This one that's going on right now, the Black Lives Matter stuff, is obviously not just a 1 or 2 weeks kind of thing. So definitely want to still talk about it a little bit here at the top and address it. And I guess I'll speak for myself here and say that generally in these types of situations, I think it's no secret that we are 7 white males who, as one fan, well, maybe not so much a fan, as one person who had listened to the podcast pointed out, we might not have a lot of perspective on some of these issues, which I tend to agree with. I think in this particular situation, there is actually a lot that people who are not people of color can do to help the cause and support the cause. And so I want to at least call out a good resource that Mike pointed out to me. This is the blacklivesmatter.card, that's with 2 R's, .co. And they actually have a lot of good resources there for people that don't know how to help out, but want to help out, including some petitions and resources to kind of get yourself educated and get involved. So I'll point in that direction. But as we're recording this, it's June 10th.
June 10th. Yeah, a little time capsule. Yesterday was the day that Donald J. Trump theorized that the 75-year-old man that was shoved by 2 Buffalo police officers was potentially Antifa. Mm-hmm. So that's about where we are right now. I wonder, because this will probably come out 2 weeks from now. I wonder where things will have escalated to and how, whether things will get better or worse than they are now. This weekend is when the police banned tear gas and then very quickly reopened the use of tear gas and hit a 21-year-old woman in the chest. And she was actually knocked entirely out. And when the medics got to her, the protest medics got to her, she did not have a pulse and they revived her. Luckily that they were there. But yeah, things got bonkers this weekend.
Yeah, it's hard to say if things are going to get better or worse. I mean, another kind of time capsule situation is that here in Seattle, the protesters have officially taken over a section of the city, which they're calling the CHAZ, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. And pretty mixed results so far. As of, I think it's only been around for about 24 hours or less. Mm-hmm. But there's been some hanging out. There's been some education. There's also been some infighting, my understanding. It's one of those growing pain kind of things. It seems like we were discussing it a little bit before the mics heated up, as they say. That I think it's just a little bit of a combination of factors. Getting everything all at once because there's this huge police presence for the last 2 weeks, and all of a sudden there is none. Kind of left to your own devices, and it's well, okay, well now what? And also just there's a ton of really complex, multifaceted issues with no clear, there's no one singular goal that that a group of people has. There's lots of different things that lots of people want to see happen that are all in the same vein. Yeah. But it's not like there's one thing where there's thousands of protesters that say, if this one demand is met, then we will disperse,
I've kind of become a fan of the whole defunding the police movement that I had not heard about until the last couple of weeks. Because it just seems like the one answer or the one thing that we haven't tried. So I'm excited about Minneapolis and LA who are actually removing funding, and I'm excited to see how that turns out. That's just the only thing that I've heard even proposed that feels like it could be an end to the protesting that's happening right now. Unless something else comes out of the federal court, which just feels like that's not going to happen, at least with this leadership. I just don't know what else would happen. And all of that being said, like, I don't know how I'm going to feel, because it's like, no matter what happens, I also know it's not going to be enough. Right? Like, this is it's there's great movement. I'm happy for Minneapolis and LA to try this new thing out, but it's just like, it's just such a big issue, right? Like, and it is
yes.
It's weird seeing I don't know, it's weird seeing the world on your Facebook wall fighting with each other about whether or not this is even a problem sometimes, when it's just like so clearly a problem.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. When I first heard to defund the police, I think like most people, I was just thinking, well, how is that even possible? Right. Which I think is where a lot of people's heads first go. So there's an internet radio show I listen to called Time Crisis, which is hosted by Ezra Koenig from Vampire Weekend. And they had an episode this last weekend to kind of address the events as well. And they had a guy call in who is an author, like basically a police scholar. Like he studied police around the world for like 20, 30 years. And his insight was actually really interesting and made me think a lot about how a lot of the systems and structures that exist in society and specifically in the US, you kind of just take for granted as being part of the way things are. And I kind of learned about, and just through him talking briefly, I'm not by any means an expert or know much at all, but learned about a little bit of the history of policing in the United States and how, for some amount of time it actually didn't exist. And that our country in general really likes to handle things in like a coercive and punitive way. We want to see people who do things that we don't like to be hurt or to be dragged away or to be put away. And we have, as a society, decided about the things that we think are okay for police to handle and things that are not. And I think the only reason that we're okay and accept them is because it's the way they are, not because it makes sense. And I think a few of the examples that were tossed around were like drugs, for example. That's a really obvious one. Is why are police responsible for responding to people possessing drugs when it's like, for example, you have white collar crime, like people lying on their taxes or doing any number of things are actually costing people a lot more money. That's handled by like the IRS. You don't have cops busting into some office and beating up a bunch of guys in suits because they're defrauding taxes, right? But if you have cocaine on you or heroin or whatever it might be, they bust into your house, beat the shit out of you and drag you to jail. It's like we've drawn these lines that are completely arbitrary that we just kind of accept, where it's like, police should handle all these multitudes of things that they have no knowledge or really business being involved in. And it really made me think, where it's like, I guess we don't really need the police like involved in so many facets of our everyday life. It's really interesting.
I mean, I think we all need to have these conversations and like do reading and listen to Black leaders and Black voices.
Yes.
I know I've personally been like interested, like there's what's his name? Michael Harriot on Twitter. He's just brilliant. But he's been doing some like histories, recaps of like the civil rights movements in the 60s and talking about MLK, and like everybody quotes MLK today as far as like nonviolence, but really like he mostly talked about two things, which is direct action and civil disobedience, right? Like MLK was directly asking people to break the law and make this situation uncomfortable and put it in your face and like make this visible, basically, like, sitting and congregating places they're not supposed to be and all sorts of stuff. It was all about breaking what he called, he clarified it into just laws and unjust laws, and was directly like, again, putting this in people's faces. And it's really, I don't even know what my point is. I just like, I've been, I know like, it's been like just trying to learn as much as I can, just to like to arm yourself with like, how do we get out of this? How do I have a conversation with somebody who doesn't like who doesn't even believe that systematic racism exists. I know there's people in my own family and a bunch of friends of mine that I grew up with that are in that space right now, and trying to figure out how to have a conversation with them and lead them through some of the things that I myself went through. Like, if you talked to me in college, I probably would have told you that racism isn't a thing anymore, or it exists in like small pockets in the South. And that has completely changed over the last 15 years of reading, working, and for me, listening to podcasts, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's, hopefully this is a time that a lot of people will kind of be more informed and aware of things that exist in society. And hopefully we can see a really positive change. Obviously this is a pretty tumultuous time. But anyway, I think that, go ahead, Mike, I'll let you finish.
I was just going to say, I feel like we should also recognize that obviously like it's not a new problem. I think that there's part of me that wants to like say like apologize ahead of time in case we're not saying everything correctly, even right now. Yeah. Just because like, I feel like me being a white dude, seeing how the police are reacting to being accused of police brutality, like literally proving the point, like that's shocking to me, mainly probably because I'm white. And, obviously I expected some of that, but the amount that's happening, and even being in Seattle with like what I guess I would assume a more progressive, a city would maybe be like ahead of the curve, and we're definitely not in a like, so I guess, yeah, I just want to like, we're trying to do our best. We're learning, every day. But this is not obviously this is not a new problem. This is like, just like another case. And I think I'm just hoping that what comes out of this is everybody that is like learning is like taking the time to learn, so they can mobilize and do something, because you can do something.
Yeah.
I
think the thing that's upsetting is that like, I mean, this has been going on for so long, and it feels like there's been a lot of movement. Like we obviously have COVID, and we have a lot of people like a lot of energy right now. Like the most recent act of clear, blatant violence against Black people. But it's also like frustrating in that like it just feels like, oh, to get everybody to this point, it just took a week's worth of white people being beaten by the police. Like it's just like, even though this has been happening for decade after decade, it didn't happen. Like nobody was talking about it until it was all of a sudden happening to white people for that same cause.
Yep.
I don't know. I'm still just like grappling with where we are and where this is going to end up, and just knowing that it's not going to be enough, but hopefully it's something. Hopefully something comes out of this. There's clearly something going on right now, some energy for it, but what happens after that? What's the next step? How do you surge up that momentum again? Hopefully without needing people to be brutally beaten, right? Like the thing that's scary to me is like fixing the education system is not as obvious as choking a man on the street is. Like, yeah. And that conversation is tougher. Like, so like how do we move through that? I don't know, but I hope this sticks in everybody's brains and does not, I don't know. I kind of just want everyone to feel unsettled, permanently in a weird way. Because this just isn't going away.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's ultimately, I think the discussions we have here are just kind of us talking and thinking and learning. I would say if you yourself feel like you could learn more, don't look at us, look at some other, some Black people who have some insight to share from their own lives. That can teach a lot more than we ever could or ever would want to. We're just here learning as well. All right. With that being said, we do have a great show today. We have a ton of mail in the mailbag that we're going to get to. There is an exciting food truck that came to the neighborhood. And Mike and Kevin are going to give us our very first ever food truck review. And we're going to end the episode with a made up movie. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so because of a little clerical error in the old pod mail bag, I had some of the mail set to read and unread. And I had somehow, despite what seems like a great system, missed a few pod mails. And so I wanted to definitely make up for that.
Absolutely. I mean, emails, it's new technology. We're all getting used to it.
It's a new thing. I'm trying to keep up with all these crazy kids these days. But they move fast and they make it hard.
Yeah.
Now,
I do think Gmail
before we get
difficult.
into all this pod mail. Gmail is not the best.
Sorry. I think my internet just like froze and we had a little talk over each other moment.
You did freeze, yes.
Good, cool. But yeah,
sweet.
That's all I wanted to say is my internet.
So let it be known that Kevin thinks Gmail is difficult.
Gmail is difficult. That's all I wanted to say.
I hope that doesn't hurt our potential Gmail sponsorship. Before we dive into the mailbag, though, I wanted to provide a very, very brief update on, I think what I brought up maybe 1 or 2 weeks ago, which was this weekly fun, what do you want to call it? Like a happy hour in the middle of the day kind of thing that we did at work that I became in charge of when my boss left. And basically nobody was showing up for it after he left. I got put in charge to keep kind of carrying the torch on this. And every week, like one person would show up, and 1 week, like my director was the only person that showed up, and we invited like 25 people. And it ended up just being me and him. And I was just quizzing him on some random trivia. And it was just completely awkward. It was supposed to happen today. I've officially put it on pause. I canceled today's event and all future events. I put the message on pause for now, trying to figure out a time that works better for people. And I don't really have an intention on ever bringing it back necessarily. But I wanted to just kind of, test the waters. And the way I know that nobody really gave a fuck is that no one messaged me about it. Just be like, hey, we doing that thing today? Went unnoticed. So that's now a weight off my shoulders that I wanted to update everybody on because
that's good.
It came up.
Yeah, I had no doubt that was going to die without even a whisper.
I could have just kept it on the calendar and just never showed up.
Correct.
And nobody would have known a difference.
Yeah.
Do you think there's one person that did actually really like those, but didn't want to be the only one that messaged,
Yeah, well, where were they? They never showed up.
They're just kind of waiting.
They were.
I mean, all you have to do is one-on-one trivia with enough people, and that'll kill it already. Like, they'll spread the word for you not to go.
Real grassroots.
It was killed very sufficiently. Okay,
nice, dude.
Let's dive into the mailbag here. First and foremost, we have three pod mails today. All very exciting. First one
is this a record?
In one episode for sure, absolutely.
Yeah, I think the most we've had is one.
I think one was a previous record, so this is definitely a new record.
I do believe we had two, like really early on,
but certainly never three.
No, for sure not three.
I mean, this is blown that way out of the water.
Well, here comes a mail from what I have to assume is a new super fan. This is from Anna Amelie, and she writes in and she says, "Hi, my name is Anna. It feels good to know you. I am hoping to see your kind reply. Thank to you very much." Thanks a lot, Anna. That means a lot.
Thanks, Anna. Wow.
Wait, thanks for reaching out. Did you say Anna O'Malley?
No, Amelie. Amelie? Amelie.
Oh, great. I said it. I think the way that you said it. And then now that you changed it, that kind of kills the joke of like, I know this person. Like, so cool.
Oh, Amelie. Yeah.
Right.
Well,
thanks for writing in, Anna. That was a shitty pod mail. Let's just fucking stop pretending.
What she
wants
to
know us. She wants to get to know us, man.
All right, I'll respond.
I'm just saying, like, we're on the podcast right now. You have it open in front of you. If we're here to break records today,
Yeah.
why don't we do the first response to an email on the podcast?
Okay.
Right
I mean,
now.
I have to put my mic down because I hold my mic. But if you tell me what to write, I can transcribe it to Anna.
Okay.
All right. Here, I'm putting the mic down. This is all on you now.
Okay. Hey, Anna, comma, enter. It feels great to know you. 2 with 2 O's. Period. Enter. Warmest regards, comma, enter. Podworms Spacecast.
Enter. P.S. The winter is long, but I stay warm by the fire. Period.
XOXO.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a solid email.
Okay, it's sent.
If
You know what's so funny? I haven't sent a pod mail. I don't think you've ever sent a mail in response, or very
we've
rarely.
never replied to anybody that's emailed us ever.
I don't know if this was me, but someone put in our signature line Podworm Spacecast and then a link to our SoundCloud that we don't use anymore.
Wait, someone sent a link to us with our own
No,
SoundCloud?
Someone put in our signature line, it says Podworm Spacecast with a link to our. That must have been, I think it was me long ago.
Yeah, that was either you or Peter.
That's
I
so
guaranteed
funny.
did not do that.
Because I remember I wanted to make it look like a really professional business email.
So you'd link it to our SoundCloud.
Yeah, you know.
Don't go checking SoundCloud to find the Potter and Spacecast.
We're not there
We are
anymore.
not on there.
Yeah, sorry, Ron.
We had a better deal come in with FNX, and we decided to switch over.
Yeah.
Kevin, like the consummate professional you are, you segued me perfectly into the second pod mail. Now, as just to catch people up, if you're not a serial listener and have heard every single episode in the last month or so,
Or if you don't listen to the podcast Serial.
if you've never listened to the podcast, if you've actually never listened to the podcast Serial, I would ask you right now to go ahead and pause this show and go listen to that instead. It's actually way better. Specifically the first season. And then you can resume this after you're done with that.
I like season
first
3
season,
too.
then come on back.
Season 3, much better than season 2.
Okay. Season 1, skip season 2, listen to season 3, and then come right back to this episode.
I mean, I think you listen to season 1, finish this episode, then season 3.
Okay. Yeah.
I have the same recommendation for True Detective too. Like just skip season 2 as well on that.
Wait, so are they going to season 1 Serial, finish this episode, then True Detective season what?
I think you should start with True Detective season 1. Then,
Then okay.
Serial.
No, actually, I think actually what you should do is you should pause right now. This is the time to pause.
But they won't know what our instruction is.
Pause right now.
Okay.
And then go to season 1, episode 1 of True Detective. Finish that, and then go to season 1, episode 1 of Serial. And then I want you to ping pong back and forth till you get through season 1 of both, and then come back, finish this episode. You can unpause now because you're now have watched season 1 of both
Welcome
the
back.
shows.
It's like 16 hours later.
Yeah. It's been several days, but I'm glad you're back.
And I hope you didn't accidentally watch season 2 of True Detective.
God, I really hope you listened.
I hope you did not watch it. I
hope the instructions were very clear.
I like after I watched season 2 of True Detective, I also was Vince Vaughn walking in the desert wishing I could die.
Enough said.
Man, I'm excited to watch season 2 so I can get that joke.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No.
Have you watched?
You know, Mike?
Have you watched the other 2?
I've watched the first one.
Okay.
Why don't you go ahead, Mike? Put this episode on pause. Stop recording this episode. Go ahead and go watch season 2 of True Detective and come right back.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm pausing right now.
All right. We're just going to continue without Mike. He's going to go watch True Detective season 2.
Yeah.
And we'll see him in, like 8 or 9 hours?
That'll work.
Unpause. Oh my God, Kevin, that joke was so good about Vince Vaughn walking into the desert. I totally get it now. Yeah. Loved it. Worth it.
Yeah.
So as I was saying, we have this great sponsor that we started working with that's super exciting called Phoenix, FNX. They're a fitness brand. Makes sense with us. We thought so too. And they basically made us an offer we couldn't refuse. You know, they wanted to partner with us, and they're giving away some really great discount codes. And I said, because they have this annual founders retreat where they have all these athletes, these famous athletes they work with, all the brands they work with, and like us, for example, and the founders of the company, they fly them out to some beautiful exotic location, like perhaps Aruba,
Jamaica,
Costa Mesa, perhaps, and just mingle and hang out. And I offered them what I thought was a pretty good proposition of because they're offering us so much free stuff, except for the shipping, unfortunately, that we would entertain the guests at the founders retreat next year. And all they'd have to do is pay for our shipping, AKA airfare. And I was waiting to hear a response back from our personal contact at Phoenix, Sarah, the ambassador. And she never responded until just recently. And she's finally restored my faith in the Phoenix brand and this partnership that we've built up together. And she wrote and said, and the title of this email is we also have CBD 50% off. Okay, let's get into this. I mean, I'm intrigued.
CBD? All right.
She says, hi, are you, first of all, I'm one word in this email, but I'm already a little bit disturbed because we've emailed back and forth a number of times now. And this is a very generic hi, not hi podworms, not hi to the gang. Hope the family's doing well. Just hi, comma.
Is it HI or HIGH? Like because of the subject line.
Oh, right. No, it's just a HI, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not even
that's weird.
I was hoping for like a casual hey, even, you know?
Like, yeah, we're on a closer basis than a hi. This is like starting off very like stilted.
Yeah, I mean, our brands are, merging. I mean, I don't understand.
Yeah, especially since her last email started with sup, brah.
Yeah, things have really gotten more cold since then.
She went from sup, brah to like hi.
Hi, very, very corporate. Are you interested in CBD products? They aren't on our main site. Okay, this is actually some good insight for the space fans here.
All right.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't be reading this on the air. Maybe you know what? Let's go ahead and edit this out. But I'm just gonna keep on reading it. But let's edit this out because
tell us. But we'll cut this part out
for sure. This is not going to make it in the final cut.
They would hate if we aired this because this is like top secret.
This is insider.
Okay. They aren't on our main site, but I wanted to let you know that we had them in case CBD is of interest. I personally love CBD products, and just to give you a try, use code PARTNERS50 at checkout. To get 50% off your order. I know it's a good offer, smiley face. But like I said, we would really like to work with you.
Wait, she'd like to work with us? So does that mean she's kind of like a go for shipping us to their what is it? Their athletes?
You know what? Here, I'm gonna go. McCoy brothers, why don't you go ahead and mingle amongst yourselves for a moment here? I'm going to go ahead and shoot back a response again because I have to get this handled immediately.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
So
mingle.
How's your day been?
It's been good. I had a couple number twos. Nothing big.
A couple. I mean, that's big news. Yeah. A couple number twos?
A couple. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, honestly, I had Taco Bell last night, so it was not as it was kind of
spicy.
Yeah.
I get that.
How was your day?
That's good. I don't think I would have thought of this, but I actually have had no number twos today.
None?
Yeah, I usually have like a good one right in around 10 a.m.
Mm-hmm. But today none.
I mean, it's like maybe I did and I blacked it out, but I actually can't remember.
Like you had a bagel. Black.
Okay, here we go. So I went ahead and responded thanks so much for mingling amongst yourselves. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but I can guarantee it must have been good, right? So I went ahead and responded, and I hope it's okay that I'm speaking for the podcast in my response here. I didn't confer with you guys.
You have been for a couple weeks now, Andrew.
That is true, and I'll continue to do so. And I said, "Hi, Sarah. I smoke weed. Thanks for asking. I assume you read my last email and are willing to pay to ship me and my 6 friends to tropical Aruba, Jamaica, etc., wherever you're holding the Founders Retreat, so we can bring our unique brand of comedy to your famous athletes and other brands. Ta-ta for now, the Podworms."
Yes. Do you like CBD? Yes, I smoke weed.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly the same. She knows that you're just like down with it and you get it now, but you responded that way.
Just want to double check that you're down to ship me and my 6 friends to Aruba, Jamaica, etc.
I mean,
I like that.
Yeah.
Wherever. Yeah. I'm a fan of that. Yeah. I hope that she responds.
I think she will. My guess is that she's not going to address my my wants here, which is unfortunate, but we'll see.
I hope so.
If you got a PS in there, have you sent it yet?
I sent it. Yes.
Bummer.
I mean, I can send it a follow-up email if we need to.
I was going to say, you could I've got an idea for a new product for them, which is
okay.
Corn THC.
Oh,
okay. That's dope.
So it's like weed, but just more stuck at home.
It's
like it's made for quarantines.
Tell her if she types in the code partners 420 to the Podworm Spacecast, that she can become a partner with us on
I can give her a promo code.
Yeah, you should send her
I got to flip the script.
Send her a promo code.
That's probably why she's not like responding with actual details towards when we're going to perform, because like we haven't been sending partner codes either. Like we need to like step up our game and like actually make this official.
She wants a reciprocal relationship here, which I understand.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting too, because I think it'd actually be nice to invite her onto the next Podworms retreat. Either Bermuda, Bahama.
Come on, pretty mama. Wherever it might be. Fair enough.
Key Largo, Montego.
I have one more pod mail to get to here before we get to the great food truck review. And this might be, here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about us here on this podcast is that we have a few loyal fans, and we treat them probably the worst of anybody that listens to this show. Clive, for example, super fan Clive, might be mega hyper fan Clive. There's not even a superlative strong enough to describe his fandom of this show.
Yeah,
he writes us fairly frequently. I mean, like every other month, maybe. But it takes us probably 2 months to ever read them.
Yeah, at the very least,
which is ridiculous.
Every 2 months, and we take about two months before we respond.
It's crazy.
Just to clarify, who's the podworm in charge of email?
I mean, I'm not absolving myself of sin here. I'm just saying that I do a horrible job. Like, we should have somebody hired on staff to make sure we're giving these fans the white glove treatment.
Mm-hmm.
But they, so I guess I apologize here, Clive. He sent this pod mail on May 1st. By the time this episode airs, it's probably going to be July.
No, it'll be end of June.
Okay. Yeah. Very timely still.
We should have him on, like schedule a time to have him on again. I think it's been overdue.
Absolutely. I mean, especially now with us already talking to each other via Zoom.
Yeah, actually, I'd love to hear his perspective on everything going on.
Oh, true enough.
Genuinely.
Well, maybe we can get him on the blower. Well, here he writes
on
in
the blower.
Yeah,
Wait,
what?
The leaf blower.
It's a radio jargon for getting him on the phone. People say it.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Look it up.
I'll look. I guess.
Educate yourself, Kevin, please.
It's the week.
Yeah, let's call him up. Let's get him on the mower.
Let's get Clive on the lawnmower.
Yep.
Subject line: Hey, Paul Blow, which is really dates this pod mail because the
It's just like, not only are we shitty people, we're shitty people.
It's like a shitty people Sunday. There's just the title is in reference to us being mean to one of our only other people that listens to this show and writes into us.
I don't know if we were mean as much as super ignorant white dudes.
Yeah. What else is new? So he says, hello, Podlots. Since my last pod mail, things here at home have reached a kind of equilibrium. I'm not as irritated by everything the family does as I was before. Now that that's out of the way, I'd like to clarify something to both you guys and to dear Pablo. Clive is my third name, my third legal name.
What?
Oh, this is interesting because we have heard.
We heard his
full. And I'm going to give it my best shot here. I know he wrote this out just to hear me struggle reading it. Clive is my third name, my third legal name, and in parentheses, Espaniso Masaquencosi Clive Shalembe. I think I actually did okay. You let me know, Clive. Hope that clears up any naming confusion, Paul. Oh, because Paul asked about it. They're having a dialogue. Paul and Clive are having a dialogue just 4 months apart. This is perfect.
Let's make a promise right now that we do better to make sure that our fans can talk to each other through emails through our podcast.
I promise that Andrew will check the email.
We need to do better.
Yeah, I will do better. I will do better. He says, guys, since lockdown began and liquor stores were closed, some people in South Africa have taken to brewing their own alcohol. Whoa. I believe the most popular recipe involves pineapples. That actually sounds pretty good. My question for you is, if you had to brew your own alcohol, what type of alcohol would you attempt to make? Would you trust your own brewing skills enough to partake of your own product? And if one of the podworms had to drink what you made, which person would you pick? Thanks for the last pod dubators. Keep squirming.
Pod dubators.
Your boy, Clive.
Clive. Thanks, Clive.
Thank you, Clive. Apologies for the late. Better late than never, though. Really.
Right.
That's just me. That's just me trying to make myself feel better.
Yeah. Better late than never.
Had to brew our own alcohol. What would we make? Who would drink it? Would I trust myself to drink it?
Okay, so this is an individual question. Each of us.
We can just chat as a group, I suppose.
Yeah. Why don't we? You know what? For this question, let's chat about it.
Let's just break it down and chat.
Yeah,
is that cool, Mike?
I'm okay to talk about this.
Right. I was going to get up and bring my notepad out into the other room, but you know what? I actually like this idea better. Let's fucking stay here and let's just chat about it.
Let's just talk about
normally we get a question from an email and we each take 20 minutes kind of alone time, find a nice spot, respond, and then we come back and have our individual responses.
Right. Well, let's just do this one off the cuff.
Yeah. This is going to be as fresh as it gets.
Yep.
Okay. Well, let's just start with number one. Beer. Oh, so Kevin, you're going to brew a beer.
I am. Yeah. It's going to be a pale.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like an IPA can go if you do an IPA well, it's really, really good. But if you do an IPA poorly, it's undrinkable. Pales are pretty much always drinkable. Even if they're not great, they're still more drinkable than a bad IPA. And those would be my top two. So I'm definitely going with a pale.
Yeah. The worst that could happen to a pale is that it's flat.
Now, right? I guess my question, my answer to this question begins with a question of my own, which is Jankum technically an alcohol or a drug?
Well, let's describe the brew process of Jankum.
Well, much like any other alcohol, it has to ferment.
Mm-hmm.
The main difference.
Hey, can we
is that,
go back to the notepad? Can we just take 20 minutes and come back and re-answer this question?
Well, no, Kevin, you stopped me for. I think you misunderstood what I was going to say. What I was going to say is the only difference is that you piss and shit in a jar and then you put it on your roof to ferment. You must have. I was talking about something else.
Okay, yeah, never mind. I was thinking something else.
Okay. and then you huff it.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like. I mean, I think huffing is not the same as brewing. I wouldn't call it brewing.
Okay.
You wouldn't say like someone comes up and is like, "Hey, what's that jankum doing on your roof?" You respond, "Oh, it's brewing."
Oh,
You wouldn't respond that way.
I wouldn't say try this brew as I hand someone jankum.
But we can agree. Sorry, I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. But I just feel like we need to talk about this. You would agree that jankum, in its own way, when on the roof, does brew.
I would say so. It's the same process. It's filling with gas. It's filling with gas. Isn't that what is happening in a beer?
I mean, it's fermenting. Is that brewing? What's the definition of brewing?
All right, who's got the internet?
I mean, this
don't we all? We're on the internet talking.
Okay, I'll look it up.
No, I have dial up.
All right. The definition for brew is to make beer by soaking, boiling, and fermentation. That's number one.
That sounds a lot like.
That's bullshit, dude. So you mean a witch's brew is a witch concocting beer in a cauldron?
It's witch beer. Also,
bullshit.
you didn't let me read number 2 yet.
Oh, okay.
Definition number 2: to make tea or coffee by mixing it with hot water. So
This is actually kind of frustrating because I'm hearing these two options and I don't see any room for a witch's brew.
Agreed.
Number 3 is of an unwelcome event or situation, begin to develop.
Oh, like something is brewing or a storm might be brewing.
So those are all the verb versions of brew. And then there's also noun versions of brew. You ready for this?
Okay.
A kind of beer, number 1. 2, a cup of or mug of tea or coffee. And 3, a mixture of events, people, or things which interact to form a more potent whole.
Okay.
You know, when you,
That's it.
Boom.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
Boom.
That's it.
Jankum is a brew.
That's it.
a mixture of events, people, or things which interact to form a more potent whole.
What's poop? What's pee? They're things.
Those are things.
They mix.
You put it up on the roof. That's an event.
Yep.
It makes a more potent whole.
You give it to your friends. That's people. Boom.
Yep. It's a brew.
That's 3 kinds of brew.
Can we get the pod fans? Can we get the space fans away on this one? If you think Jenkum is a brew, can you let us know? pwspacecast@gmail.com. Please. We need you to weigh in on this one.
It's one of the more potent holes that you can make from your own potent hole, right? Like, I know that's 2 different kinds of holes there, but
the most potent hole you can make out of your potent hole.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's the most potent hole, WHOLE.
No, I understand, Kevin.
Oh, okay. There's someone who wasn't following.
I hope not.
This is for the listeners who can't see the words that I'm saying to you.
Yeah, because me and Mike both
can see the words.
There's closed captioning on Kevin for some reason.
Yeah, I turn it on just for my video.
What was it again? The most potent hole you could make from your
your own potent hole. Yeah, yeah.
That sounds like a brew
with a slogan.
Any definition? Yeah, absolutely.
Who would we have drink the brew among the podworms?
If we're making jankum,
it's Phil. Phil would do anything. Phil will do anything once.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Does he listen to the episode? Who doesn't listen?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
He doesn't even attend the episodes.
All right.
Yeah, for sure. And for that reason, I feel like we need to give Phil the jankum brew.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if there is a good time, honestly, if there is a good time to get strung out on jankum, it's when you're stuck at home being quarantined.
Also, can we talk about how his text from today was like, I can't do today, but I'm available to record tomorrow. And I was like, oh, cool. Let me tell the guys who are recording tomorrow. Oh, wait, nobody. What are you talking about? I can record on the day that nobody signed up for.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have these 2 days to record. We've always kept it like that. You know, the first day we record, the second day we don't record. And some people like to record on that day. And that's just how we like it.
That's just how we like it.
Clive, Thank you so very much for this pod mail.
Thanks, Clive.
Again, Mike's sincerest apologies for missing this. He will do much better in the future.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mike. Food truck review. Please take it away.
Oh, yeah. I feel like I'll give some context for this because I think I've had a longer journey with this than Kevin has.
And because of that, I can't give context. My journey's been like so short that who gives a fuck with context?
Here. How about this, Kevin?
Right.
I'm sorry. That was totally uncalled for. I'm going to still give a little bit of context,
Perfect.
but only up until the point which you were introduced to this food truck, in which you can give the rest of the context.
I don't need to. But I don't care. I don't give a shit about that. Yeah, honestly, I think you should just do the whole thing. I just want to say that I also could. Like, I just want to be recognized that if we needed context for this and say you weren't here, I've got it covered.
Can I just say the dynamic between you two? It's really clear that you have just known each other for almost 30 years. It's just so natural. The flow. It's like you can finish each other's
sandwiches,
food trucks.
Exactly. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so we little inside baseball for y'all. We record this podcast on Wednesdays, and about 3 weeks ago, there was a sign. Julie and I go on walks in our neighborhood, and there was a little sign for a food truck that was coming around, and it said "Coming at Wednesday at 6." And I was so excited and disheartened at the same exact time because we record this podcast at 6. And so I've got obligations, and I really wanted to try this food truck, not because it looked good, but because it was there in our neighborhood, which is just, it's not something that happens very often. Julia was very unsupportive. I asked her, could you go get me something from this food truck while I'm doing the podcast? And she outright said no.
That is tough to hear.
We walked past that sign every day up until that Wednesday. And every time we walked by, I said, Julia, I really want to try this food truck. I can't go because I'm recording the podcast, but could you walk up and get me something from the food truck? I don't care what it is. I just want to try it. She said no every single time up until the day of. And then I even recorded the podcast with half a hope that maybe after the podcast, I would go downstairs and she would surprise me saying, I knew you wanted this really bad. And here it is, Mike. I love you. No such thing happened.
Oh my God. How could this happen?
I know. A week goes by. The sign doesn't come. I just assume that there's no chance that this food truck will ever come back again.
Because we're in the middle of nowhere, right?
Yeah, there's no reason a food truck should be around.
It's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea.
There isn't any other business anywhere. I've never seen a food truck drive through this neighborhood. Like it's just,
we're 5 to 10 minutes from any grocery store. It's all suburbia around us.
We're 15 minutes.
Suburban sprawl.
I mean, there is a 7-Eleven that is very close, but I mean...
But also that 7-Eleven, how the hell did it get there? It's like there is a 7-Eleven and then there is houses.
How does any 7-Eleven get anywhere?
I don't know. Like, they're just like, dude, I guarantee there was some dude at 7-Eleven headquarters. Like, he's 3/4 the way through of like a fifth of vodka, right?
He picks up a dart.
He does. He picks up you know the rest of the story, right? Like, and they're like, that's the place, right?
A map of Linwood. There's the spot.
And as soon as he threw the dart and it hit the map, he goes, I am anointed by God. And then they built a 7-Eleven there. Like, that's the kind of crazy ass shit you'd have to do to decide to build a 7-Eleven at the place where it is.
Well, I think you're a little mistaken here, Kevin, because the 7-Eleven came long before the houses. The 7-Eleven actually was the reason that this whole area got developed in the first place. That 7-Eleven was...
Yeah, it's been there since the dawn of time.
They cleared out the area around the 7-Eleven just so people could be close to it.
I like, so this was like 1802. And they're like, this is at the 7-Eleven headquarters in like 1802.
in somewhere in Massachusetts, probably.
Uh-huh.
Did Massachusetts exist back then? Must have.
I think so. Yeah, probably.
I have no idea.
So anyway, a week goes by and there's no sign, the food truck, nothing. Come Monday, we're on our walk in our neighborhood and there's a sign, the little fold out sign, and it says food truck on Wednesday, 5:00. That is an hour earlier. That is before the podcast starts. Boom. Perfect timing. Now, I was so ecstatic. And I told Julia, that's what we're having for dinner on Wednesday. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And they said to order online, and she was not excited. We look at the menu, and the menu, okay, so the menu, first of all, the food truck is called Here and There by Chef Dane. Chef Dane on his menu has a grilled turkey sandwich, a gyro, pulled pork sandwich, a salad, black bean sliders, bacon cheddar burger, Asian salad.
It's all over the place.
Yeah, he doesn't have a specialty. And so you can kind of guess that, like looking at the menu, it's not like it looks good. And that's kind of, I was never necessarily excited about what the food was. It was more that it was in our neighborhood. And I thought, if it's here, I have to try it.
It is one night this week that I don't have to cook.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so Julie and I were looking at the menu and she was very upset. She's like, I don't want to eat this. Like, this sucks. And then she saw that they had a homemade corn dog and that turned her opinion around entirely. And she was very excited. And I was pissed because I was on there 2 weeks ago anyway, I could have had it. But she, didn't want it. So Kevin and I and Julia actually all went tonight and gave it a shot. And Kevin and I haven't talked about this yet, but I figured this would be a good time to give a little bit of a review on Here and There by Chef Dane. That's all the context. We are now caught up, ready to talk about the food that came from the food truck.
Yeah. And wow. I'd like to say
the context was so good. I can't wait for the actual content.
Well, yeah, I was going to say one thing. I was completely mistaken. I could not have come anywhere close to that kind of context for what we're about to do. I feel like if it had been me providing the context for this next segment, this is the thing that's about to happen right now, they would feel as lost and alone in the world as that 7-Eleven does.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you setting this up, Mike.
Kevin, before we get started, I just want to say thank you for saying that.
And I'll say, you're welcome. I sometimes I forget that you just have a skill for context that I was not given.
And I think people might assume that we're trying to fill a time amount. It's quite the opposite, actually. We don't have to have 20 minutes of exposition on everything, but it's just a personal choice.
Hey,
we're very thorough.
Rule number one of the pod is just to have fun, right?
Absolutely. And drag out the point as long as humanly possible.
Okay. So let's get going on this.
Let's review this. Let's review this. Let's get into it. Let's review it. Let's get to the meat.
So let's start off with talking about what we ordered. So when I was looking at the menu, the first thing that caught my eye was the beef and lamb gyro. And sorry, Kevin's laughing.
I'm excited for this.
It's not even funny. It's just such a buildup for just the most bullshit segment. It's just. Sorry. This is. I'm back to professional.
I don't think I'd give that much context to a segment that I didn't believe in.
Okay. Yeah.
So when I was first looking at the menu, what caught my eye was the beef and lamb gyro. I haven't had a gyro in a really long time.
Oh my God.
It's been, excuse me, Kevin.
Okay. I'm gonna be okay. Sorry, I can't believe this segment. All right, off the rails. I'm back.
I haven't had a beef and lamb gyro for a really long time.
Oh my God. Why is this happening? Why is this happening?
Okay.
Okay, here
So my heart was really,
you can do it.
It was really set. It was really set on that beef and lamb gyro.
Yeah.
But then looking at the photos and seeing how Chef Dane, he's all over the place with his menu, right? And so it felt like out of all the things, that is probably the biggest risk is going for that gyro, because everything else is pretty like right down the middle. You know, you got your grilled turkey sandwich, pulled pork sandwich,
Caesar salad. Yeah, I could basically tell you the menu at this point.
for sure.
Vegetarian black bean sliders, you know, very right down the middle. And so as a last ditch effort, I decided to go for the Kahlua pork sandwich with fries. And Julia went for that homemade corn dog. And we also got some fries and a rhubarb streusel cake, which I have not eaten yet. I'm saving that for tonight. I'm excited though.
Oh boy.
Kevin, what did you end up getting?
I was eyeing that Kahlua pork, but I was that to me looked like as much of a risk as the gyro did.
Really? Okay.
Just because I just was not sure. I went straight down the middle and just got like a cheeseburger with bacon on it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then he also offered meals that you could take home and cook yourself. So I got a shepherd's pie that you can cook in the oven and a burrito with mole or enchilada with mole that you could cook at home.
That sounds great.
Yeah. So
that sounds better than anything on his actual menu.
Yeah. There was like, he had like a food menu of like hot food. And then there was like take home meals. And I was like, you know what? Like, this is great. I don't have to go to the store. I can just get in my neighborhood. I'm going to do this and try it out. And even if it's not that great, it's still better than yet another night of me cooking.
Yeah, totally. And just so you know, like the take and bake meals kind of contain, you know, Mediterranean lentil loaf, orange chicken, seared ahi tuna, baked shepherd's pie, baked chicken, mole enchilada, which Kevin got, the pulled pork stuffed potato. I mean, you know, the list goes on.
Yeah. Good context. Thank you.
But yeah. So Kevin, I wanted to hear how your bacon cheddar burger was.
So, it was good. It's hard to screw up. It tasted like a good one that you would make at home. Like nothing. I mean, I'm not going to drive hours to go get that again, but it was fine. Like the thing for me, like I knew it was just going to be your mom and pop's cheeseburger with bacon. As soon as we walked up to,
I believe you mean your moms and pops.
I only have one mom.
Okay.
Fair enough. Wait, so Mike, what did you get? You had
So I got originally I was thinking about that beef and lamb gyro.
I know. What did you end up getting?
Just because I hadn't had one for a while, but I ended up going for the pulled pork sandwich.
Right. How was it? Did you like it? Did you like it? It was all right. How did you like your corn dog?
You know, it was just okay.
Okay, so the food from the food truck was about what you'd expect from a food truck.
No. Actually, it was worse than what you'd expect from a food truck.
If it's a food truck, you expect really goddamn good food.
Very good food.
Okay.
Yeah.
This was. It wasn't mall cafeteria. It was almost. It wasn't college cafeteria either. It was almost more like what you get when you ride a ferry if you're from the area.
Oh, mine was way better than that.
That's about how good mine was.
That's why I didn't get it. I knew it was a risk. I knew I was right. I knew it.
Julia's corn dog would have been very, very good, except for on the inside, there was a bunch of raw batter.
What? Wow, that's really gross, actually.
Yes, pretty nasty.
That's
it
really
tasted good, and she was able to. She didn't really eat all of it because
do you think that might have been Chef Dane's special recipe that he leaves a little bit of uncooked batter in there?
Yeah, that's the secret. Is to any good corn dog, you just don't cook it all the way.
Well, I love Andrew when Mike was describing the menu. You nailed it on the head. Because when you walk up to this food truck, it says quick meals with Chef Dane, or I don't forget what the name is, but
here and there,
here and there with Chef Dane. And then the only other thing on the side of the truck is two like white wood placards nailed to the side of the van, both with a map of the entire world painted on them. And I think
detail I missed.
I think it's a bold choice to have a restaurant that has a map of the world on it. Like, I think that's just a bold choice.
World cuisine.
Yeah. But
look at their
alone
menu.
To have two of them and for that to be your only graphic was, I thought, very ballsy.
Yeah.
But you know what? I was right. I knew that you can't screw up a cheeseburger with bacon. Well, you can, but Chef Dane didn't. So thank you, Chef Dane.
I would like to add that I did get fries, and in fact, I got extra fries.
Mm-hmm.
And these were kind of shoestring fries.
They were.
And they, without even asking for sauce, they just throw in a bunch of ranch and ketchup, which I appreciated. And they were very clean, by the way. They even Clorox wiped my debit card before giving it back. They're all wearing gloves and masks. Really nice. The ranch did taste like mayo.
They're nowhere close.
I don't think that was ranch. I'm trying to think of what sauce that was. It was not. I don't think it was ranch sauce.
And it wasn't mayo.
It was mayo.
I don't think it was mayo.
I think it was spicy mayo. Like, I think it was.
But it wasn't. Did you? So you had this sauce and you tried it?
It comes with ketchup and the white sauce, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Which I would assume is ranch. And I appreciate that they just threw it in the order.
I'm pretty certain it's not ranch.
Well, I'm pretty certain it's not mayo.
I forget the name of that sauce. I'll have to go look it up. I don't think it's
bland white
ranch
sauce. That's probably Chef Dane's special sauce.
It could be.
Could be.
I don't know.
So it sounds like at the end of the day, it became apparent why he was coming to your neighborhood and not going anywhere else. That he could do a lot more business.
Yeah, I think showing up next to any other food truck would be a bad move for Chef Dane.
Or anywhere that anybody can get any food within 10 minutes.
Yeah, not a great move for Chef Dane. As far as food that I can buy in my own neighborhood, Chef Dane, I would still say is number one.
So he calls it house sauce on his menu.
It's bad sauce.
That ain't ranch.
It's not. It's definitely not ranch. It is
Chef Dane's
mayo.
special sauce. It is. Fuck.
Well, here's
bad.
my question. If Chef Dane comes back to the neighborhood, would you go again and try something else?
Yeah, I'd get that gyro.
You are obligated to get it.
I have to get that gyro. I've had my eye on it for a long time now.
I think the burger was fine. It depends on me. For me, how good the shepherd's pie is and how the mole enchilada. The mole enchilada now is, I'm realizing, a big risk.
That's a big risk. It really is.
So now that I know that yours was garbage.
That is the treat for us and the listeners, is that this saga is far from over, because we've really only eaten about half of the food that you purchased from Chef Dane today. There's still a rhubarb pie. There's still a shepherd's pie. And there's still, what's the last thing?
Enchilada with mole.
Enchilada with mole. So next episode, I expect food truck review too. And here's the best part. We already have the context and no longer need it. So we can get straight in to the review.
That's true.
The part we've all been waiting for.
You bet.
I am going to make an executive decision in the interest of time and cancel Made Up Movie for today's episode. Yep. It's but it's not canceled as much as postponed. We will do it next week when all the podworms are gathered back together, because what else could they possibly be doing? And we are sitting here quarantined for month 3. I guess I'll end this episode again by calling out that resource we mentioned at the top of the show, blacklivesmatter.card2rs.co. Check it out. Like I said, petitions, information, and more. Learn from others that know way more than us. Don't listen to us except when we tell you to listen to others. If you like this show, please do share it with a friend. I already mentioned our inbox, which, as you know, is a very effective way to not only get in touch with us, but other space fans. It's like a very, very slow text message that the other person may never actually receive. pwspacecast@gmail.com. And as always, space fans, until next time, keep squirming.
Squirming.
Whoa. That was, what was that?
What? Do that one more time.
Hey, are you doing all right, Andrew?
Yeah, you okay?
You been squirming enough this week?
Squirming.
What? Dude, this is, what are you doing?
Oh, God.
All right.
God, that's worse than that food truck segment.
No, that's not true. All right, we'll do one good one, just because I don't want to end on a bad note, you guys.
Right.
No.
All right, that was my bad. I set you guys up to fail.
It's going to be a week till we see each other again, and I don't want to be thinking about this.
All right, you know what? Daniel, take the shears to those last 2 attempts. This is a good one. You ready? Until next time, space fans, keep squirming.
Oh,
that felt good.
Nice. That's good.
That did feel good.